Imagine that today is a normal day. You are walking to work, having a coffee, or simply looking out the window. Suddenly, the sky goes out. There is no sunset, no transition. Only a darkness so deep it seems to have weight. Many would think it's an eclipse, others the end of the world. But the reality is much more terrifying. The sun, the source of all our life, has just ceased to exist. You have exactly 8 minutes and 20 seconds before the world changes forever. In this video, we are going to travel through a nightmare timeline. From the first hour of darkness, moving through the freezing of the oceans until 1 year later, when the earth becomes a wandering tomb in the void. Could humanity survive absolute cold? Stay tuned, because what you're about to see isn't just science fiction, it is pure physics. Welcome to your horror podcast. Here, you will not only hear real stories that will make your blood run cold, but you will also learn and expand your English vocabulary. Remember that you can enjoy this story with your headphones on or while doing your chores. Get comfortable and enjoy the story. During the first 8 minutes, no one notices. The last light emitted by the sun is still traveling toward us at 300,000 kilometers per second. But at second 821, catastrophe strikes. First, the moon disappears. Without the sun to illuminate it, the satellite that has guided our nights becomes invisible. But light isn't the only thing we lose. Einstein taught us that gravity also travels at the speed of light. In this instant, the invisible tether that kept the Earth in its orbit breaks. Our planet shoots off in a straight line toward interstellar space at 30 kilometers per second. We are no longer a planet, we are a rudderless ship. 1 hour later, global panic is total. On the side of the world where it was daytime, streetlights turn on automatically. The temperature begins to drop, but very slowly thanks to our atmosphere retaining heat for now. The real problem is human chaos. Communication networks collapse and the world wonders, will the sun ever rise again? 24 hours have passed since the sun went out. The world has entered a state of perpetual vigil. The global average temperature has dropped from 15 degrees Celsius to an alarming 2 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. In areas that were previously warm, people go out into the streets in heavy coats, staring at a sky that refuses to light up. But there is a phenomenon that is both beautiful and terrifying, without the interference of sunlight in our atmosphere. The Milky Way is seen with a clarity never before witnessed by the human eye. Millions of stars flicker above us, reminding us how small we are in a cold and empty universe. 7 days later, system collapse. A week after the sun's disappearance, the temperature has fallen below minus 17 degrees Celsius. What used to be rain is now constant snowstorms that do not stop, fueled by the moisture still remaining in the rapidly cooling atmosphere. Here begins the true tragedy. The water stops. City pipes, designed for temperate climates, burst under the pressure of the ice. Entire cities are left without drinking water. Millions of people are left in total darkness, without light and without heat, the silence of the forests. Small plants, flowers, and crops have died. Without photosynthesis, the cycle of life has broken. Wild animals die by the thousands, unable to find food or shelter against the extreme cold. The flight inward. Humanity faces a radical decision: stay on the surface and die, or seek warmth where it still exists. In the depths of the earth, the world's governments declare martial law. The lucky few are moved to underground shelters, or cities near geothermal energy sources such as Iceland or Yellowstone. There, the heat from the Earth's core is the only sun we have left. Meanwhile, on the surface, the silence is absolute. The oceans begin to form a layer of ice on their shores. The roar of the waves is fading, transforming into the crunch of breaking glass. A month has passed since the last ray of sunlight touched the earth. The global average temperature has dropped to minus 73 degrees Celsius. At this point, the world's oceans have begun to freeze completely. But something fascinating happens here. Ice is an incredible thermal insulator. While the surface is a deadly desert, in the abyssal depths near volcanic vents, life continues. It is an ironic reminder. Life on Earth began in the total darkness of the ocean, and that is where it takes refuge for its final breath. For the humans remaining on the surface, life is a struggle of engineering. Cities are now concrete sarcophagi. Only those who have managed to convert nuclear plants or geothermal wells into closed shelters have a chance. Food is grown under LED lights, recycling every drop of water. Every breath of oxygen, the concept of day and night has died. Time is now measured only by the ticking of the clock. We reach the 6-month milestone. Here, physics shows us its most terrifying face. The atmosphere, that layer of gases that protected us, begins to collapse. As the temperature drops toward minus 160 degrees Celsius, the gases we breathe, nitrogen and oxygen, reach their liquefaction point. First, you will see a strange thick fog covering the ground. Then it will start to rain liquid air. Finally, the atmosphere solidifies and falls in the form of white and bluish snow. The sky, once blue, is now a black and transparent vacuum. If you stepped out onto the surface without a pressurized spacesuit, your body would collapse instantly. The Earth is no longer a habitable planet. It is an inert rock wandering through the cemetery of space. 1 year after the Great Blackout, Earth is a natural spaceship traveling at 100,000 kilometers per hour through the interstellar vacuum. Without the sun, there is nothing to stop us. In a few thousand years, we might pass near another star, or perhaps get trapped in the gravity of a black hole. What happened to us? Perhaps humanity has managed to survive in ultra-advanced underground cities, hoping that in some corner of the galaxy we find a new home. Or perhaps we are just a fossil record in a frozen world. The sun is not just a star. It is the conductor of life's orchestra. Without it, the music stops. But as long as there is a spark of heat in our planet's core, there will be a chance. Because if life on Earth has proven anything, it is that it does not give up without a fight. Fun fact, liquid air rain and oxygen snow. Normally, we think of air as something invisible and eternal, but air is a mixture of gases, mostly nitrogen and oxygen that have a freezing point. Nitrogen becomes liquid at minus 196 degrees Celsius. Oxygen becomes liquid at minus 183 Celsius. As the Earth wanders through space without the sun's heat, the surface temperature drops so much that the atmosphere simply stops being a gas. Imagine walking through the streets of a frozen city. Suddenly, you see something impossible, a bluish, thick fog flowing along the ground as if it were water. But it isn't. It is the Earth's oxygen that has condensed due to the extreme cold. Soon, the sky begins to melt. First, a rain of pale blue droplets, liquid oxygen falls. Then, when the temperature drops even further, the nitrogen solidifies and begins to fall as white crystalline snow. At this point, the atmosphere that protected us has disappeared from the skies and now rests on the ground in a layer of air ice about 10 meters thick. If you were there, the sky would be an absolute black, darker than any night you have ever seen, because there is no longer any air to scatter even the light from distant stars. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel to learn more vocabulary every day with interesting topics. See you in the next episode of Let's Talk English podcast. Good night.